good. How are you, Todd?
I'm doing great, and welcome Pipeliner community. Thank you for being customers. All right, we thought during the crazy time, Liz and I said, let's do another readiness webinar. Woohoo! So
Todd's
thanks
just gone
everyone.
back for vacation, by the way. Can anyone tell?
Exactly, a little vacation, a few days, at home. There you go. But we still need vacation nonetheless. So welcome today. Today's July 9th. I'm in Palm Beach, Florida area, and Liz is in London. So we're kind of spanning the globe, at least halfway. And I think we're going to spend about 30 minutes, Liz, maybe 40,
Yeah,
about that. Okay, cool.
if I can stop talking.
Exactly. Not to worry. Me too. So, but we were talking about, in our one of our sales meetings, and with a customer, we kind of joined one of theirs, and they were talking about how they're really an activity-driven sales team, and we kind of did a little poll internally, and we with our own internal sales team. And we said, are we running up against this a lot? And I think even your feedback was like, yes, people, not everyone, but a good percentage of salespeople, really run their day-to-day book of business with what they're supposed to do next. And I think that's exciting. So I think you see it too, right, Liz, with all your implementations?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And ourselves as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we divided it into a couple different parts. So real quick here, just high level, we're going to get into those activities, okay, those tasks and appointments, and we're going to kind of dive in and just real quickly at the beginning, not too much, but just make sure we know how to set those up. So we're going to dive in a little bit into the administration area and just show quickly how easy it is to do. Okay, so at least you know. And then we're going to get into and also look at how can we incorporate some of those into some of the sales process activities at the same time. Okay, so it starts getting really fun. And then we're going to show, okay, then we're going to pop to the application. We're going to say, geez, within the app itself, where can I see all these different views of the activities? And how can I filter them for myself or for your sales manager for your team? Okay. And then we're going to say, okay, but what if we really want to, from a salesperson, I want to do some reporting on myself. How would I do that? Or if I'm a sales manager and I want to kind of look at maybe the success of meetings or what have you, how can we really deep dive on that? And then we're going to spend just a curve around, and we're going to kind of get into what I call intelligent scheduling, which I like that because, I'm the biggest fan of Automatizer. And then I think we're going to have a little secret tip of the day or bonus item. We're going to get into the mobile app just for a minute and show you how we could do some activities there. So is that, Liz, did I cover everything?
Yep, absolutely.
Are we ready? Okay.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, let's do this. I'm going to stop sharing. We'll let Liz share her screen. Oh, can I have one other little thing though? If anyone has a question along the way, please put it in the little notes in the comments, and we'll be able to answer them either while we go through it, or we'll remind ourselves that we need to go back and cover something, or we'll make sure we follow up with you afterwards. So that's just a little of the house cleaning. And Liz, I'll let you take over.
Cool. So just sort of, I guess, what if you're not one of those organizations who's like really into this stuff already? Okay. Why should it matter to you? Why should you even be bothered about all of this? And lots of people ask me the same questions. Todd and I have been working with CRM for a shocking number of years now that we're not going to admit to in public. Sad but true. And all the time that I've been a CRM consultant, if there's one bit that some people like push back on, it's this idea of them logging their activities in the system. And I'm always like, well, why wouldn't you? And they are sort of like, well, what do you mean, Liz? And I've always said, well, don't know about everybody else, but I really appreciate it when Pipeliner is my second brain, because my first brain is just full of all of this stuff, and it just makes perfect sense to me of like, if you've got this fantastic system that can just be your second brain and remind you about all of the things that you need to do, why would you not do that?
Yeah.
But it's not just that. I mean, obviously, what do I mean? Well, I mean this, I mean the ability to go into Pipeliner and click on an account, for example, and over here on this right-hand side, right here, everything you've ever done, all of the meetings, all of the tasks, all of the notes of those meetings and tasks, the dates, this whole thing of, I know exactly when I had that meeting, I know exactly what I said in that meeting, I know what they said in that meeting, all of that. I don't have to remember any of this because my second brain is doing it for me. And all I need to do is just look at that, and there it is. But it's more than that in Pipeliner, because you can get that, you know, in lots of places. Pipeliner, of course, you know, always a bit more, a bit better, right? And that's about opportunity management for me. And it really boils down to the fitness, yeah, which you can see here. So this is just demo data. It's not, you know, ideal data. I'd be like sweating it out over these red ones if it was, but I'm pretty cool about it because it's just demo data. But this is about these opportunities and like, are they being proactively managed? And the green ones instantly tell me, this green here in the fitness instantly tells me that this opportunity is being proactively managed. That the closing dates in the future, that's one thing, but also that there are next planned steps, yeah, and that any activity that is associated with this opportunity is not overdue. So, you know, instantly my day is easier because there it is. Yeah, I don't even have to think about those because I know that my second brain is going to pop up and remind me when I need to do it, but I know that it's all set up and I can just focus on these others. Yeah,
That's such a great point, Liz. I gotta tell you, you mentioned second brain. That's maybe it's my gray hair, but yes, I agree 100%.
So let's think about sort of setup. Yeah, so you know, you think about what is it that I want to know about the things that I'm doing or that my team are doing. Yeah, and in Pipeliner, when you plan an activity, okay, you choose from either, you know, a type task or type appointment. And that's really because, of course, you can synchronize all of these things to Google, to task list or calendar, or Outlook to a task list or calendar. That's the reason why you get to choose these things, okay? But what if you're in a situation where, you know, you want to do a report and you want to know how many of a particular type of meeting you had, not just the total number of meetings, but specific types of meeting. Well, that's where you need to be in the admin module, thinking about customizing these things. Okay, quick reminder, how do I get there? App switcher here and administration, but obviously I opened it up earlier. So here we are in the admin module on the fields and forms area. And for our enterprise customers, at least, I've got the appointments tab right here. Okay, and you can see that I've got a single type of meeting set up right now. And that means that if I was reporting, I could very happily say, how many appointments have we done this month? Great, okay. But Todd and I were chatting about what we want from our, you know, activity-focused sales team. And we thought it'd be really useful to be able to differentiate between normal meetings and like webinars, for example. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to create a new type of meeting that we can track in our system, and I'm going to call it a webinar. Very appropriate, obviously, for today. I'm going to give it a, you know, a nice icon, and I'm going to click on save. So that was literally just create new, give it a name, pick a picture to go along with it, and click on save.
That's pretty easy.
Oh yeah,
I can do that. Okay.
So as soon as this is published and my users start to use it, of course, then instantly that's it. You know, my reporting is going to be there already. Yeah, that I can now say, well, how many general meetings have we had versus how many webinars have we done in a particular, you know, time frame? Just the sort of report that most people ask about. Yeah, but equally, if I click here and I edit the form, you can see this is pretty much a standard appointment. Yeah, just the sort of thing. If you were in the app here and you went to schedule a new meeting, yeah, this is what you see. It's like, you know, a subject line and start and end and whatever. And that's what it looks like in the app. Okay. But because it's a specific type of activity, very likely that I want to track specific bits of information about it. And of course, I can do exactly that because I can add custom fields to my custom activity type. So it just gets even better. So if I click on new here, you know, I can do all sorts of things. I can use perhaps a URL in here. And I might call it something like invitation link.
Nice.
And click on save. And
of course, so I can paste
anything.
it then right in there. That's great. Okay.
Absolutely. So all I need to do, having created it, is just put it on the screen. Okay. And, you know, I don't know, whatever you can think of. So let's go for a nice little checkbox here.
You're making my life too easy, Liz, because you know I like the check boxes, right?
Yeah, I know you like the checkboxes. That's why I was thinking of one to put in here. So I'm going to just put a little bit, little checkbox, basically just as a note that, we sent out the recording link after the event or whatever it happens to be. Yeah, and again, you can just save, and then you just pick up. And normally I'd reorganize it slightly with my elements and make it look beautiful, and but you don't need to sit there and watch me do that. So I'm going to click on save. So we've got, what did we get in that? I don't know, what was it, 30 seconds of setup here. We got a whole new type of activity that we can report on, and we added some custom fields to the form for just that activity. So of course, when your users are using the standard appointment, they're not going to see that URL link or that checkbox. They're only going to see that when they're scheduling or working with a webinar type of appointment, which is exactly what you want. And I'm going to click on publish.
Hey Liz, real quick here, as you're publishing that, there's a couple other those buttons on top, fields, web resources, but it has field permissions. How would field permissions come in, like why is that there? How would that come into play with this new webinar field?
So let's say, for example, that this was part of a program that was being managed by a particular set of users, maybe our marketing team,
Okay.
are managing this for us. And maybe, just maybe, they want to keep control over that URL because it's important.
Marketing.
They don't want anybody
do that.
messing. Yeah, they don't want anybody messing with it because then nobody's. You know how these things go. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you can do with the field permissions, again, the enterprise customers, for those custom fields that you've created, right? You can say for this particular one, our invitation link, any user based on this role maybe can only see it rather than change it. Okay, whereas anyone based on the admin role gets to update it as well. You can, of course, again, if you're enterprise customer, you can have a custom role for marketing. Yeah, so
Perfect.
those field permission, they're absolutely amazing. And again, of course, you can use them throughout Pipeliner. So it's that ability to say that for your custom fields that you've added, based on the role that a user is created on when they're added to the system, can they do anything? Yes, see it and change it, only see it, or is it invisible to users based on that role as well, which is a nice one. Okay.
I could really probably see this coming into play too. Maybe if you were, maybe dealing with the money part, maybe there's a certain like outreach and you have to kind of collect a little piece of information or how much you're going to be charging. And maybe it's applicable for one team when they can do it on the fly. But then when someone else is like running reports or looking at it, maybe they shouldn't really be concerned with it. So I could see how that could really come in. Okay, cool. Thanks for covering. I know it's little, but in a way, like our CEO, Nicholas Kimball, he loves the field permission. So I want to make sure we covered it for him.
And, and rightly so, because it just gives a whole, it's about protecting vital information, isn't it? That's all it is. Yeah, about protecting vital information and making sure that just the right people get to update it, and that people can't accidentally mess it up, because nobody really plans to do this stuff, but easily done by accident. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, that's my new activity type. We've got custom fields created with it. So what might we do with it now? Yeah, well, maybe we'd like to include a prompt to use that webinar type of activity as part of the sales process. Yeah?
Okay.
Particularly nowadays when everybody is doing quite a lot of webinars. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe let's say that we want to prompt our sales users to invite potential customers to a webinar when they get to, I don't know, let's say value proposition. Yeah, because maybe that's the webinar that we're doing, the value of Pipeliner. Yeah. So I'm going to go into my pipeline here. So I went to pipelines and I selected the pipeline that I want to edit, and then I can see it down here on the right. And I'm going to edit this particular sales step. And I'm going to add a prompt for that webinar activity to link it to an opportunity here in this sales activities checklist area. Okay.
Okay.
And we've got a few little things in there already. Yeah, these are simple checkboxes, like nice gentle reminders about our best practice, our methodology. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on activity. And then I'm going to scroll down. And because I've just created it and published it, there we go. There is our webinar. So we want to link the webinar to the opportunity. We just need to fill in the subject line. And modify. And then all I need to do is save. See how easy all this stuff is. It's just fantastic, isn't it?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I'm going to go back to our opportunities area and just do a quick refresh because I already had it open. And there we go. So
Well, that's pretty good. I like the thanks for spending the 5-6 minutes on admin. You know what I mean? Because some of us just need to know, like, not all of us have access to that area like you,
well,
but
yeah.
or other salespeople. But I think if just knowing that it can be done, that's really important, and really doesn't take very long. So if you want to talk to your admin and say, hey, can you just do this little tweak for me? Know that they could probably get it done in a couple of minutes, 10 minutes top, So just keep that in mind. If you're a sales user or a sales manager and you don't have those rights, it's an easy ask. We'll put it that way.
Definitely. Okay, so here we go. I've got an opportunity. It's in my value proposition step. Here's my prompt for my webinar in the sales activities checklist. And all I need to do to action that prompt essentially is just click here on the calendar. Yeah. And when's it going to happen? I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I could, add whatever I need to. And click on save. There we go. This is now associated with this individual opportunity. Nice.
Nice, Liz.
So easy, super easy to put them into that, that prompt, that activities checklist, super easy to set them up in the first place, super easy for users to create activities in here. And of course, you can go up here to your settings and you can go to the apps tab and you can integrate these things, to an Office 365 calendar, for example, or, a Google task list. Yeah, so all of that is available. But, once you've got them in the system, you want to be able to actively use them and see them. And obviously, when you're logging into Pipeliner with your cup of coffee in the morning, or your bucket of coffee if you're me, then you want to be able to easily see the things that belong to you. What is it that I need to do today? And obviously, we've got reminders over here. Yeah, so that's one way of being prompted about the things to do. Yeah, so I've got my webinar activities reminder over here and this one that Todd scheduled for me earlier. And of course I can do the normal things that you do, which is, dismiss or snooze all of my reminders, or, hide them for now. Okay, so that's one way, obviously, that I'm going to see them. I can obviously go to my activities area. And at this point, it's just like the rest of Pipeliner. You just choose the view that you like the best. And some people love the calendar view, and you do get this great color coding on the calendar view, which is fantastic. Okay, so the things that are not done, things that are done in green. Yeah, you can pick lots of different slices to look at here. Okay, so week, etc. Great. You can click on any activity and see all the details of it. You can open it up and add all your notes in. Remember?
Nice.
You can mark it as done. Yeah, just directly from here. Yeah, really easy. Okay. Calendar view is great if you're very meeting focused. If I click here on my drop down, if you're very sort of task type focused, or if that's just where you are in your brain right this minute, because of course in Pipeliner you just choose the view that matches with where you are right now. And then you change it in 5 minutes when your focus is something different. Yeah?
Right. Yeah.
And this is now your task board view. And here it's a bit like the pipeline. Yeah, so these are all the preset statuses of activities, and you just pick it up and you can just drag it. Yeah, and the underlying status is being updated. And over here, you're going to see all of your meetings. The final view is the list view. And looking at those beautiful visualizations, you might be a bit surprised to find that this is actually my favorite view. But then I'm often looking at it from an admin perspective, you know, and the reason that I love the list view is because, like any other list view in Pipeliner, you can customize it and you can put in whatever fields you want to about that particular activity. And oh, now look at that. That includes the custom fields that you create, yeah, in this view. Okay, so
oh, that's the trick.
yeah.
Okay, Liz, now we're getting into it. Okay, it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so lots of great ways of seeing all of your activities. Now, of course, again, you know, if I go to an account and I'm here in the compact view, I'm seeing the feed over here, I'm going to be able to see all of my activities there in the feed. If I scroll down a little bit in the compact view, oh, hang on a minute, well, there they are again. You know, we just couldn't make it any easier for everybody to see everything, you know, that's going on. And you can just click straight through to the activities tab from here, you know, and here you go. And this right here is the power of it all. Yeah, that history, that everything that's been going on with. But leading neatly into what you're going to follow on in a second about that whole idea of reporting. You know, we say that Pipeliner is very visual and you can do lots of things directly from where you are. And that includes things like filters. Yeah, so I click on filtering here and go to the custom filtering. Some of you might not have seen this. Look at that.
So wait, let's backtrack here. This is really cool. Wait a minute here, Liz. Don't try to sneak in the super advanced stuff on us, okay? So I can like look at all my opportunities, okay, or maybe even I don't know, whatever accounts or whatever, and say, hey, which ones don't have something scheduled yet?
Oh yeah.
I need that because I, you know, I mean, I love the color coding too, but sometimes, you know, it means different things with like the dates and the times. But this is just a great way where I can look and just say, hey, anything that doesn't have it done, you know, I can then boom, identify it and then accordingly act. Wow, that's terrific.
Yeah. And this is where you start to, you know, this is where you can't do this in Outlook.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so this is where you get the benefit, you know, the real power of doing it in something like Pipeliner.
Perfect.
Okay, over to you.
Oh, I get to take over. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Let me
Stop
share screen.
sharing.
No worries, no worries. There were a couple questions too about with syncing with Google and Outlook. I'm just gonna continue sharing my screen real quick here. Let me know if there's an issue, Liz. Otherwise, just to answer the question, Adam had the question about how do I set it up to synchronize like the calendar like you mentioned with either my Google, he said Google and another user had Outlook. So we'll cover both, okay? And I'm not gonna dive too much into it, but just, you know, you go to that very top panel, it has your picture on it. Hopefully you've set that up. And you can kind of click into the apps area. And in here, you can either set up the area where it has the tasks or the calendar, or with the Gmail, it has the calendar or the tasks as well. Looks like I need to reactivate something, but that's the area where you set it up. It's like a, what's the old guy, the set it and forget it, right? So you do it once, boom, you're done, and it's all good. So, okay. So my part now is to come over and say, geez, if I'm a salesperson and I want to see everything that I did, you know, and do some analysis for my own book of business, okay, how would I do that? And then if I wanted to share that information with, I don't know, a manager or someone else, another salesperson, to show, hey, this is how I'm doing it, you may want to pick it up here because it's really working. That's what I'm going to try to jump into right now. Okay. So the first part, and I have it on the navigator screen for a reason, because you know what, so many times we come to the screen first in the morning, at least I do, and I just like to kind of say, you know what, all those activities are also right kind of in this right hand panel, so you kind of know exactly what you have to do. So Thursday I had 4 things to do, right? Oh look, this is the webinar. As I hover over it, the activity type was a webinar, the one Liz just created. What do you know, Liz, I got that scheduled on my calendar too. So, and of course I can click and go right into it. And I think that's a good view just to get started with. And another thing, just because, you know, sometimes creating reports, people are a little bit, this is what I hear. It seems like until you really kind of just do it, and you get super proficient at it, it's a little scary. So one thing also you can do is if you have maybe your, you know, I'm old school, right? I really, you know, I do the activity list. Okay, you know, all this fancy other stuff. I just like my list, right? And maybe it's my old days of crossing it off on a pad, but what's really nice is you can just go in here and right from whatever filter you have done, you can go ahead and just hit the create new report, and you can just create it on the fly. And I just think that's a really easy way to take the data and then move it into that reports tab, okay, where we store all of this data. And there's really, I think, three main activity kind of formats that we have. Okay. One is I like to call it my dashboard view. The other one is the standard report. And the third one being more of a pivot table. Okay. And a little advanced I'll touch on in a second. Okay. So what's really kind of cool is if I were to, maybe we'll start with the graphical one, Liz, right? It's pretty,
Mm-hmm.
it looks good. Okay.
Yep.
So, you know, and I think if, because a lot of times, you know, I like to sit back and say, geez, you know what, during this kind of this awful crisis we're in these crazy times, you know, what have I been doing? You know, is my productivity going up? Am I slacking off? Am I doing more web meetings because I'm here at home? Or versus when I used to be on the road all the time and seeing, you know, one or two accounts per week. You know, has my business model shifted, and is that paying off for me? Right, that's what matters to me as a salesperson, right? And so really easy, you know, like Liz was showing before in that profile, the same profile that you were using with your activity list, we can kind of see where you have different options here. Okay, and so I think you can really dive in and then not only look and see what activities, but you can also even filter on some of those, right? So if I wanted to filter and see that activity type right there, I got to zoom in. I just figured out how to do this, right? And so boom, we have it, and we say here, I want to click on that new activity type, which is webinar. Okay. Let me go back down here. And on that, then I can say, geez, you know, here are my webinars. I've done 2 of them. Here's my date range, but just a better graphical representation of maybe my webinars versus my other type of appointments that I used to do. Okay, so graphically, I think it's important. And not to mention, if I were to, this is the coolest part. And I don't think I have data here because it's my demo database, but our graphs now, you can click into it and you can actually see the data. Okay, it's my demo database, so apologize. But I think that's really kind of cool new feature. But let's kind of go through that one. I like to call it my normal activity report. Okay, to help me. Okay, and so what I've done here is I've kind of set up one, I'll call it standard report. Okay, and in here you can kind of, what's really nice is, you know, you can pick and see what columns are, the headers are here. Okay, simple reporting. And Liz and I did another one on reporting, so please refer to that webinar. I like to say like my kids' videos, like see the link below, you know. Subscribe now.
With
But
the action.
we
I
right,
love
exactly.
it.
Sorry, so I didn't want to be too crazy on that. But what's really nice is we did a real deep dive on it. Okay, but just so you know, if you can get in there, you can actually go in there. And if I was to say, geez, you know what columns I want to see are here, but also if I want to divide it by maybe my activity types, I could dive into that. And so as I've clicked on, hey, I'm sorting it by, maybe I'll sort it by like Liz and I. Okay, we'll do the owner. Okay, and then over here we have grouped by the activity type. Okay, let me just pop out of this for a second so you can see better. So here we have the appointment, which is the first one we had before Liz made the adjustments. And then we went ahead and added another activity type called webinar. Okay, and so now you can see, geez, Liz had a webinar today and I had a webinar today. So now we're tied, okay? And, but I think it's just a great way that you can see how easily you can group these different activities, okay, just in that list view. Or where I think it becomes really powerful is you wanna say, hey, toss that information into a pivot table.
Mm.
And let's go ahead in that pivot table, let's go ahead and put that in by activity type, and boom, we can have it in there. Or Liz, what was the other field you added? The checkbox
The,
one. What,
yeah, that was video sent, wasn't it?
a video, exactly. Video sent. Oh, I don't think I refreshed yet, but you can add all those other ones in there, and you can get creative with your with your reports. And once again, if I was to say, geez, here are my webinars, okay, 3% of the total, okay, maybe I want to change the date range to the start of the crisis versus the whole year like I have here, but I can then click in and say, geez, what was that meeting Liz did? I can click in on that cell. Boom, here's the meeting. Okay, I can click into it. And once again, as she did on her end, it was with that company called Altonworth and Sons. Okay, so just a really nice way to do those graphical reports, those standard reports, those pivot reports. Now, I'm gonna go a little more advanced here. Okay, Liz,
Oh,
are you ready? Okay.
brace yourself.
Right, exactly. So we had a very, very large consulting company, and one of their requests for one of our larger customers was to be able to look into the deals that would close, okay, of those deals that close, which companies were involved, and then what activities were done in order to make that deal happen. Sounds like an easy request, right? But that is very complicated, okay? And so with this advanced report, just kind of a high level kind of idea is to say, geez, just by taking that one, account that was represented because of this opportunity, we can see all the different activities that are done. And of course, I can pivot table this out too if I want to get really crazy. But I think it's a great idea saying, geez, this is what it took to get a deal done.
That is nice.
Isn't that super cool?
Yeah, that's really nice.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of my little thing here. But okay, so let's transition a little bit out of the reporting world, but I like to keep it still fun. Okay, and you did such a great job showing, hey, you know what, on this one like deal, I'll just open up this bear deal. Okay, selling a dump truck, but and we have over here, we have the the activities, right, that you had it in here. Okay, and so I'm trying to think where you did it, but anyway. 3. Okay, and I don't know if I refreshed or not, but oh, there it is, webinar. Okay, which is really cool when you're going through. You're like, geez, at this step, I'm supposed to book the appointment. Okay, and I can click in, it all fills out, and it's really cool, and I like my check boxes, right? And so, but sometimes what we want to have happen are these tasks automatically just pop up on my calendar, right? And I don't think that's a crazy thing to ask for, right? And sometimes I want them to pop up for different reasons. Okay. Now, if I go and back to our theme of activity-driven sales teams, a lot of times when I'll close a deal, this is real life. Okay, I learned this a long time ago. When you close a deal, don't forget to say thank you. Okay. A guy named John taught me that. Okay, and he stressed it, and he stressed it, and he stressed it. Okay, and with that, I said, you know what? I say thank you right at the beginning, but sometimes a little bit later, I like to say like a real thank you. Okay, now to make sure I never forget it. Okay, because the gray hair and everything, Liz, I can go ahead and set up a personalized automation flow using our Automatizer, and I can set up a process that says 90 days after my first deal with them is closed, go ahead and schedule me a task, okay, that says, send them an email and say thank you. Okay, of course I can automate that if I wanted to and automatically send the thank you email, or I can just have it as a task that pops up and says give them a call and say thank you. So I just like to kind of bring up Automatizer again because these, and once again, this is just my personal thing. Every rep's a little different in my company. I can't keep track of everybody here, right, Liz? I mean, can you imagine doing what like Don does and Joe does? They probably think I'm crazy sending out thank you cards. But you know what? These personal processes is just for me, okay? And I can incorporate these tasks right into them. Okay.
Nice.
So one last thing, a little bit, using because technology, in the background we can do a lot with, right? And so what I like to also just high level here is sometimes we want to bring other application data into Pipeliner. Some people say, geez, what I really want to do is bring in that, I don't know, that email from the marketing tool or the support ticket information. Okay. And some people say, gee, should I just post that as like a feed, or should I post it as an activity? Okay. This is kind of techy, but just for all the kind of developers out there or people want to explore the API, please do it. It's a really nice way to, I think, actually use activities because you could have those custom fields. You could still see it in the feed section if you want to turn on your activities. Okay. And even maybe just highlight just the ones that were for that particular idea. Like here's the MailChimp integration. I don't think there's anything in here, but it would be like, hey, geez, you know what? You could really kind of turn it on and then just see and filter those type of data points that are coming in, and then really create them as those tasks that would be customized, just like how Liz customized the one that says webinar versus the one that said appointment. We'd have another task maybe just saying, I don't know, MailChimp email that went out, maybe a Zendesk ticket that came in,
Yeah.
on and on and on. And we do it internally and it works fantastic. Okay.
It's brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I think we're even going to like phase 2 of that brilliance where we say, no, really, no, let's trust me here. So we have custom fields in there. So the intelligent wise, okay, what you want to be able to do is maybe trigger something off of that automated task that's put into the system. So that marketing email comes in, it says it was opened. Oh, geez, I want to do something. Or that support ticket comes in and it becomes closed, like issue resolved. Okay. So then I want to trigger my other activities, automated, the task gets scheduled, maybe in a week. Hey, did they take care of you? The support team's great. Did you like them? And on and on. So I know we're going kind of advanced, but I just like to paint the picture that all this is possible today, right in the pipeliner, and people are using it. And so grow a little bit if you're not sure. Liz, what would be the best way if someone wanted to kind of start doing more and more with tasks? I mean, besides watching this video, and we'll do other ones, but what's the best way? Should they reach out to their salesperson or directly to our support team? What's the best way that they can really reach out and learn more or get help if maybe they even need help someone doing it for them?
If you need specific help, definitely support. We do help with that sort of thing. In general, if you know exactly who your account manager is, and generally you will, because you have great relationships, with customers, reach out to them just, in general, or me, or customer-success at pipelinersales.com. And whichever one of those you choose,
Can I use
we'll
one of
always
these
put you
chat
in
things
touch.
right in here?
Yeah,
you
can use the chat. Definitely.
Okay, good. It's right there. It's so easy. I love it.
Yeah,
Send a message. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget the knowledge base. Yeah, which of course you can
Oh, yeah.
access directly from that chat as well. There's lots and lots of information in that knowledge base. Articles on just everything,
Oh, so I just go to knowledge
Automatizer.
base, and then I just go into like,
Yeah, look for
activities.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna do it here.
Or
Okay.
Automatizer.
Okay. Oh, there we go. There's okay. There we go. Boom, boom. Look how many you have.
I know. Lots of different, and this is
It is
where the
very nice.
integrations come in.
Okay, perfect. Good job.
We try.
Yeah, exactly. Now, can I transition out of for the tip of the day? Do you mind if I go to mobile a little bit?
Go for it.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to stop sharing here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up, I'm going to share again, but I'm going to share my my iPhone, okay? Because, oh, can you see it okay, Liz?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Oh, those are my kids on the jet ski. I live in Florida. There you go. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the mobile app with Pipeliner. Okay, and the really cool thing here is that I don't know, like you brought it at the very beginning, Liz. Okay, a lot of people don't want to use activities because of, I think, 2 main reasons. Number one, they think it slows them down. Okay, it takes too much time. Okay, I hear it all the time. Well, that's too much time, waste of my time. I don't know why, but that seems to be like this thing in someone's mind that just says, hey, I don't want to do it because I'm going to sell less because I'm going to be spending more time just adding data to the CRM. Okay, so I hear that a lot. I want to kind of say, hey, we may have an option for you now. Woo-hoo. Okay, and I think that's important. And the other thing is about, if you are, like most people, have probably their mobile right next to you. I'm sure you do too, Liz, right there.
Yep,
Boom, right?
it's right there.
If anyone's on the call and doesn't, please let me know and we'll send you something. And we'll be able to go through it. But so I have the mobile app up. I'm just going to kind of click on a couple things, okay, and go into what we call actually, you know what, let me just synchronize real quick here, just to make sure I have that new field that you added on there.
Mhm.
It just takes, I don't know, a second or so to kind of go through. There it is, 47. Okay, I think it took, what, 2 seconds? Okay. And so let me get rid of that. And so now I'm going to go in, I'm going to
And
say,
there you
geez,
go.
you know what? And it was right there, right? There's the alert. See, everyone saw it. I shouldn't even got rid of it. It's so fast. But if I have to have like a task or something like that, okay, number one, when I'm on the screen here, okay, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to shake the phone, okay, and it auto, isn't that cool? It's just so, it's not even typing, right? It's like boom, and say, hey, do you want to add something? You know, and you're like, yeah, I want to add that appointment, okay. And once again, I only clicked once so far, okay. I'm going to change it and click, because Liz created that cool new one called webinar, which I just selected. It's now part of it, okay. I like my check boxes, I'm going to check it, okay. But under maybe like, I don't know, the subject, I'm going to use the microphone on the phone, and I'm going to say, this was the best webinar, Liz. I can't wait to do the next one on a complete mobile phone application, and I appreciate your time today. Okay. And when I do that, I hit save, and boom, it's in there. Okay. And there's no typing anymore. Okay. Now, some people say, well, I spelled something wrong. Or here's a, I'm gonna, not very grammatically correct. Correct. It doesn't matter, because in all honesty, no one reads your call notes. Nobody.
Not except you in like
Except for
6 months'
you,
time. Yeah.
right? Exactly. It's like that reminder, like you said, for people like me
Second
with
brain.
great, right? A second brain. I like that. So just a note to self, I think it's a really great feature. Okay. It's also, you can, you know, if you, depending on what your computer, you can kind of do that voice dictation inside the app as well. Okay, which I think is fantastic. To tell you the truth, I haven't typed call notes in years. Years. Okay. And I think that is oh, I
It's
don't know.
cool. Yeah.
It's cool.
And
It's cool now, right? I mean, remember those old days? We had to like,
yeah, coming out of a meeting.
right?
Straight, yeah.
Exactly.
Got your
So,
phone right there, speak your notes straight in, job done.
exactly.
You know,
So
if only we'd had that in the olden days.
I know. Can you see my screen again, Pipeliner again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Just to highlight what that is, and we're almost done, everybody. Okay, if I was to be on this opportunity and I see this activity, right, and I'm going to be in that one, I think we scheduled one for Liz. Meeting. Sorry, webinar. There it is, right here, webinar. Oh, wait, you blocked me. Okay. Anyway, I'll just go here, follow-up test, just to kind of highlight the voice dictation, because I think it's so important with tasks. I can just double click on a button on your computer. Oh, always allow. Oh, did I? Let me try that one more time. I hit the little FN on my Mac, okay? And then I can just start talking and just kind of say how great of a meeting this was and how I don't do call notes anymore. Okay, so I think it's just a terrific way that all of a sudden I don't type anymore. So that whole obstacle about it's frustrating and it takes time, I have most people, they just in their car after the meeting or after the meeting. I mean, tell you the truth, I have, maybe I'm a multitasker, Liz, but I'll have it here. After the meeting, I'll kind of get up and go get my cup of coffee, right? And I'm just talking into the phone and saying exactly what happened on the call, and then it's done. And then my call notes are all done. And so I don't really have this like
Yeah,
downtime anymore, which I think is fantastic. So
it is
um,
fantastic.
it is fantastic, right? So well, you know, so Liz, someone sent a text and, hey, where do I see a recording of this? Or do we have other recordings that we talked about? So as we go, just on the Pipeliner main site, everybody, you can kind of go down to the far bottom, and John Golden has put together a fantastic YouTube collection for us. Okay, I get it. There's so much good video up here. I'm such a big fan. And so we go underneath the playlist. Okay, and in the playlist, you see something called Pipeliner CRM Academy. I'm just
Ooh.
gonna, I'll stop it right there. But in here on the right hand side, you'll start seeing these different webinars. I think we're on our third or fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll keep it going if everyone
Yep, we're going.
suggests, and then we'll be able to keep it going. So feel free. There's one, I think, just to and recap. There's one about our Automatizer. There's one on reporting. There's one on email, and now there's one on activities. And I think, I don't know, Liz, can I get you to do another one or two here this month, maybe?
Oh, I think so.
All right, cool. So, all right, well, I'm going to stop sharing. Everyone, thank you very much for the great day. Liz, you're awesome as always. Thank you for your huge insights for everyone. So,
Have a good day, everybody.
thank you so much. Talk soon.